Quiet on set.
Rolling.
Action.
Hello.
Hello.
So my name is Sebastian Para.
My name is Caitlin.
And today we're here with a special guest. If you want to introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Julia Benton. I'm originally from New Jersey. I studied abroad with Caitlin and Sebastian last semester in London. And I'm here to talk about my experiences with them, and I'm super excited.
Yay.
Awesome. So today we're going to do a really quick London recap of how our experience over the span of the 4 months that we were there was. And just talk about a little bit of just everything that happened there and things to do, things not to do, what to avoid, just everything that we experienced and that you might want to experience if you end up going to London at one point.
Because we're totally experts by now.
Yeah, by
so
now
you
we're
should
just
totally
like
trust our opinion.
really in there.
Yeah, so I know the last episode that we did talking about London was a lot about school. So I figured that's where we should start and talk about sort of how the schooling part of our study abroad went. So Julia, I don't know if you want to go first and sort of kind of summarize what you felt, especially since, you're not an acting major. So I'm really curious about how you felt with what we learned and everything.
Yeah, for sure. So a little bit more context about me. I am at an engineering college in Boston, or a little bit outside of Boston, called Olin College of Engineering. So my major is in engineering with a concentration in human-centered design, which just means I kind of want to do the more people side of research and engineering and design after graduating. So I haven't had any kind of theater courses at all because I'm at an engineering only college. And so I was really nervous coming into my semester in London because all I really had was like my passion for theater, not any formal training. But I was super excited to go to London because of COVID, and I hadn't gone as a junior and I was going as a senior. And I had an amazing time is what you're going to hear during this podcast is I had classes that I grew a lot in, and I did so many things and I saw so many shows. And I mean, what was the question again? I just started going off on a tangent about how much I love London.
No, it's okay. Yeah, I'm just like curious about like what I know you took some classes that were different from ours. So I'm just curious about like as like a whole, how you felt in those courses and how much do you feel like you learned overall?
Yeah. So I think in the beginning, I kind of really had to overcome this mental imposter syndrome I was experiencing. When teachers would say things like, oh, you all have already done this like kind of technique or something, I would feel really weird and like guilty, like I was sneaking in somewhere I wasn't supposed to be. And I felt like really scared to perform in others. But I think as the semester progressed, I really got more comfortable with our classmates, who were just awesome people in general. It was a great group of people to get to know, and I became less afraid to make mistakes. I remember one of our classmates, Miranda, shout out to Miranda, stopped me after class one time after I expressed like in class, like, oh, I don't know what this means. And it was really nice. She was like, if you ever need anything, like I'm happy to help. And that kind of like reaching out also just meant a lot to me, knowing that there was like supporting people around me. Definitely I think helped my growth. So it was scary in the beginning, but I ended feeling like really confident, I think. And my final performances, I think, were a testament to that because although I was like nervous, I felt like I did a pretty solid job, I hope, in my finals and stuff.
Yeah, I feel like I can definitely agree with feeling like, no, I do not know this stuff that you're talking about, and I do not know this playwright that you're talking about.
Yeah. I mean, can you really blame them? I mean, I'm sure they had the assumption that everyone that was going was all from FSU.
Yeah. Like, why
that
wouldn't
was
they?
The main
Well,
program.
at least from theater.
At least from theater in general, or at least had some knowledge. But yeah, no, I definitely agree. I remember seeing you act, Julia. I loved what you did. So I definitely agree that like I think we all improved in one way or another. I was really excited to see you act and so happy that I was able to, because it was so fun just seeing you be like that. I don't know if you want to go next and talk about sort of what you felt during it.
Yeah, so like you guys know already, a filmmaker student. That's what I do. I enjoy acting, and I feel like that's something that motivated me to actually do theater in London. But the main thing was just like wanting to be there to learn more about what an actor actually feels when they're on set and when they're recording, and the pressure that comes with being an actor. And that was like my biggest motivation to actually be in theater for a semester, and because I feel like that's something really important that a director should know, and just so they know how to actually interact with the actors that one director is directing. And I think that was pretty successful on my side, and even though it was really hard to actually go through it and come out of my comfort zone and actually do like Shakespeare or just activities that theater majors do on a daily, it was really hard for me. But I feel like I overall enjoyed it a lot, and it was just really interesting walking like a 9 or walking like a mat at a 1, and just like different things that apparently they do all the time.
I know that doesn't make any sense to anybody who's listening that's not a theater person, but you'll have to just get it if you take a theater course.
If you get it, you get it.
Yeah.
If you take a theater course, you'll do it.
Yes,
for sure.
Definitely. No, yeah, I felt that way too.
I don't know. Something to add on. I don't know if you guys felt this at all, but for me, it felt really different. I don't know if, I mean, maybe just all theater programs are like this and I didn't know, but like it was very much like an active and involved, like in every course. Like I'm used to like sitting and maybe listening to a lecture, but just like sitting and working. And it was really interesting to like be physical in every classroom. And I really liked that I wasn't like sitting at a desk. And I don't know if it's expected or if it's like that for what you guys study, but that was something cool that I experienced as well.
Yeah, so I feel like as filmmakers, we are hands-on for most of our classes, but not necessarily active. Because for theater, you have to actually do a lot of walking and running and just like moving around. And as filmmakers, we don't really get to experience that much. It's usually just, we're ready to film, we're filming, we're done. I mean, it is tiring, obviously, because you have a lot to do, but more often than not, during class itself, it's not like you're doing much moving around. And that was another challenge that we went through, was just like trying to keep the shape.
Yeah, I was physically exhausted after many of these courses, even just like the basic movement course. I was just like, oh, we're constantly running around, we're constantly moving, but I think that was the whole point, is like you can't just like act while standing straight and not actually feeling the emotion in your body. And that was so difficult for me to understand at the beginning, but I'm really happy that I learned that, because I do think like it really affects how you perform. Like if you're not physically into it, that means you're not really mentally into it. So that was something really cool that I had no idea that was a part of it, but it really did show.
And I mean, one of the classes was stage combat, and oh my goodness, that was a lot. That was 3 hours of just like doing stuff.
That was a whole workout class. Honestly, that's what it felt like.
I feel like I got more in shape with that class. What do you think, Julia? How was your experience with stage combat?
Yeah.
I would be so sore. Everyone would be like walking out like, oh my God, sweating.
Oh yeah, that class was so much fun though.
Just like the wet t-shirts all around.
Yeah. And then like just trying to figure out how to feel that like aggression, because in a sword fight you're not just like happy, you're more often than not actually trying to kill the other person, so trying to like physically get into that mindset, but while also keeping the choreography was really interesting. Like you can't just whip the sword around very like rapidly, you have to actually do it a very specific way while still having the emotion. Like you can't be too in your head when fighting with a sword, because then you won't perform it correctly, you won't have the right emotion. But if you do it too much, you're gonna actually hurt somebody if you're not keeping that distance. So it was very interesting trying to understand that balance. I'd love to do more like action sequences in the films that I do later on, because I thought it was so interesting, just like the technicalities that was involved in it.
Yeah. Julia, as an engineering major, what made you decide wanting to do a whole semester of acting?
Okay, so I mean, honestly, I'm just a theater nerd at heart that I've had to try and forget about while focusing on school and stuff. And I thought I mean, I have a chance to do a semester of anything I want within my school, which is pretty cool, like arts and humanities classes. And I was like, oh, I could study something maybe helpful like psychology. And then I was like, theater would be so much more fun. um, and I just went for it. And I'm really glad I did because I've like acted in some of the shows at my school, Olin, but definitely not like in a whole semester of like actual training. It was just kind of for fun. Um, I mean, I don't know. I would love to do some part of theater after I graduate, even though I'm still going on this engineering kind of design path. Um, yeah. And then I took stage combat and I chose London because there's so many awesome shows in London. And when I was exploring programs, I saw this name, Stage Combat, and I was like, oh, how awesome is that? Like,
I feel
when
you.
am I going to get a chance to learn how to fight someone on stage in a safe way? Um, and that's kind of like the deciding thing that locked it in for me, I think.
For some reason, I didn't think it was gonna be that hard, like that much workout and stuff.
To be fair, it's not like we like really even knew what stage
Yeah.
combat meant when signing up for it, but it sounded so cool. So
I feel like
it's
I know so much now and I go and see a performance. I'm always looking at like what techniques they're doing, and it's just kind of fun.
Hey, but given that you want to do acting afterwards, I think it's great that you actually found people that are into the filmmaking industry.
Yeah.
Contacts, you know?
Networking.
Yeah, I'm really happy I went to London. I feel like I grew the most maybe in my stage combat class. I remember the teacher at the like towards the end of the semester was like, Julia, I can just see like how you've changed from the first day, like getting out of your head and like really committing and getting into it. And that was like the best compliment ever.
That's
So
awesome.
I'm really proud that I could do something out of my comfort zone.
Mhm.
Now, we went to London as part of this third party program called API, which helped us get there and housing and stuff like that. We weren't part of the housing itself, but Julia was, because Julia was also part of API, and we did a lot of different trips that were really interesting. And one of those trips was actually the Peak District. So the Peak District was pretty much us going there and rock climbing or rock descending, actually.
Rock descending.
I don't know the proper word for it, but
I
that's
think
pretty
it was
much what it was.
abseiling.
Oh yeah,
No, abseiling.
that's what
I
it's
think
called.
abseiling
Yeah.
was the going between caves.
No. That was weaseling.
Oh my!
I did
goodness.
weaseling, which is trying to squeeze your body through boulders and not die. Just be able to get your way out of the boulder. So much fun. I want to do that again so badly.
Julia and I did abseiling. How do you like that? I think that was one of the best trips that we did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. That was like the coolest trip ever. I was looking back at my pictures today of that trip, and I saw like a picture of the pies we had on our stop along the way, which I love London pies. Go to London for the pies. I honestly I couldn't believe we were still like in Britain when we got to the Peak District because it was so different than the city.
It
And
really
I was
is.
super scared to go abseiling. I think I was like the last one to go down. I was like, you go ahead, you go ahead. But everyone was really supportive as I was scarily getting on the rock and leaning backwards, including Sebastian. And so it was super fun, and I did it like 4 more times after I went down the first time.
But I think you only did the big one once. You did the smaller one a couple more times. I mean, it's also the line. There was a bigger line for the big
Don't
one.
call her out like
That.
No, I also did. I only did the big one once because you had to wait a long time
True,
to actually go
yeah.
down that one.
I definitely remember like spinning and dangling in the air on the big one. People were like, oh, watch out for this drop off. And I was like, oh, I'm just going to keep going. I was like, oh, it's a drop off.
Kate didn't get to experience this because you did whistling, but it was just really scary because they told you like just lean backwards and put your foot on the edge of the cliff, and it was like, what?
you just had to like trust.
In
You had to
it.
be like
Oh man.
perpendicular, like a 90-degree angle to the rock to start out. And I was like, this feels
Oh, no.
wrong.
And many people were really scared of doing it and will be almost like kneeling onto the side of the rock. It was just really
I'm
weird.
so happy that I chose weaseling then. Weaseling sounds so much less dramatic and
It
scary.
was not traumatic. It was a one in a lifetime experience.
Right. My profile
I
picture
totally
is
forgot.
on Facebook is now me abseiling at the Peaks
Oh, I
District.
love that.
It was so
Those
nice
pictures I
going
took.
though. Yeah, I loved the countryside. Like you said, like it's so different than the actual city. It was so nice to be able to leave the city and explore like the wilderness. And we stayed at a hostel, which was so fun. The bus ride there was terrifying because we thought we were gonna fall over the edge of the mountain, but we survived. In the town, I forget what the town is named, but it was a town that became famous in the Black Plague, right? How they were the only town that closed off their borders, so that no one could get in and get out. They like quarantined themselves, and that's how it became famous. So it was cool, kind of going there, knowing that we
Yeah, we went
survived
to a little
COVID.
restaurant nighttime to get some hot cocoa and
It wasn't a
stuff.
restaurant; it was a bar,
A bar? Okay,
Yeah.
a pub?
pub.
It
Yeah,
wasn't a- I don't
it's a
know.
pub specifically.
We had some hot cocoa. It was really nice late at night.
The
And then
townsfolk were a little weirded out that
Yeah.
a bunch of 20-somethings were there, but it was so nice.
And we played some phone games.
Phone games, yes, I remember that.
In which I try to stack soup.
Let's not explain
Let's
that.
not go there.
So relaxing though. I loved that hostel
Yeah.
so much. I wish I remember what it was called, but so
So
nice.
nice.
to
I,
mention.
had you guys ever been to a hostel?
Not up until that point.
I didn't know what a hostel was.
I was scared that like a hostel was like
You just actually sleeping
dangerous.
with someone else. Yeah.
Yeah.
Me too. I
But
was
it
like
was
reading
actually
articles
fine.
before. I was like, is it safe to go to? And I thought it was going to be with random people, and I was super scared.
I think maybe like APA like maybe like booked the entire hostel.
Yeah.
That was like what I thought they did, and maybe that's why it wasn't as weird. But I guess if you're on your own, they had like a whole like rooms with bunk beds. I think if you went there by yourself, you would have to just sleep in a bunk bed room with a bunch of other people, which does weird me out. But I mean, what
Many
can you
people do it because it's cheaper.
Yeah.
And it's actually a pretty great thing that London has, because most places is like pub and room. So you have a pub and it's a hostel at the same time. So you get
Exactly.
to sleep in there for cheap. So
Isn't
I
that
don't
kind of like the thing in Harry Potter where he goes?
I think so.
Doesn't he like eat below and then go up and stays there for the
The,
night?
the leaky cauldron. I guess you could call that a hostel.
that could be a
Yeah.
hostel.
Because they
yeah.
all had like their own rooms and whatnot.
Yeah.
It wasn't necessarily like a bunk bedroom, but yeah, I'd say so.
Now, Julia, what do you think of this big confusion that people have when they think London Bridge?
Oh my
Because I don't know
gosh.
if you remember London Bridge.
I do remember the London
It-
Bridge.
It's just
It's
a
funny
normal
because
bridge.
I had my sister come visit me and my boyfriend come visit me, and they were like, the London Bridge. And I was like, no. It's not the actual London Bridge.
The London Bridge that you might think about is actually called Tower Bridge. The London Bridge is just a normal ugly bridge.
It's really ugly.
It's really basic, and it's not falling down.
Do you wanted it to fall down?
The bridge is falling down. Copyright.
Of course. Oh my god. Yeah.
Tower Bridge is the good one.
The
Those
fancy
bridges
one.
are really pretty at night, though.
Yes.
They are really pretty because most of them have like lights and stuff.
And there's the bridge from Harry Potter. Not to keep on bringing up Harry Potter.
That one is nice.
But in the
Well, I
second
mean-
movie, when it's like destroying.
The pedestrian bridge. Yeah, I don't think we ever walked across
We didn't
that
walk
one.
across that. It's right in
but-
front of the globe. We
Yeah.
didn't actually go in it,
It's like right next to it.
but we saw it multiple times.
I definitely can't help but bring up Harry Potter as well, just because they filmed it a lot in London. So it's just like, oh, I remember that from that random sequence
Yeah.
that meant nothing at the end of the day.
Now, on that topic of bridges, I really love the Uber boats. Like £5 for a whole Uber trip on a boat. You never did that?
No, I never went on the Uber boats.
Oh, you should have. It was so much fun. I had no idea
Yeah.
that was like a thing.
I mean, they don't give you like a tour per
It's
se.
merely
just-
for transportation.
yeah, but
but
it's
it
like
was useful.
it's £5, and you go across the entirety of the river, and it's so nice.
It saves time trying to get from like train station to train station.
Yeah.
Like it worked really well actually.
But we also did the other tour on a boat under the bridges and stuff with the actual tour guide, and I really enjoyed it.
I mean, yeah, because there's so many like really nice like touristy monuments like
Mhm.
on the river Thames. So it was like really nice being able to just go on a boat and see all of them all at once. And we went at like a really nice time of day, so we got like really nice pictures. And we got a picture of the double-decker bus on the Tower Bridge, which is apparently like the most famous picture you can get. So yeah, those boat rides were so great. Definitely don't swim in the River Thames,
yeah.
but boating on it is apparently fine.
I didn't go on the boat. And there's also something else I didn't go on that I wanted to, which is there's like a gondola air thing called like the airline Emirates. It brings you like across London, but you can also just take it for fun. I really wish I had done that too.
The cable cars, yeah.
Yeah, we didn't do that.
There's always something that you always wish you could do, but we'll just
Yeah.
have to go again. More
I
excuses.
want to do like
go
London dungeons and stuff like that.
again.
But there is stuff to go back for
There's
sure.
so much stuff to do there. Yeah, 4 months is definitely not enough.
Now, what do you think of the public transportation around London?
You had strong opinions on it, so I want to know.
I did have strong opinions. One of my flatmates and I were the so-called like bus gals, the bus girls, because we love the London buses so much, more so than the tube. I took the bus every day to and from class. I took it to see shows. I used the bus and public transportation all the time, which is part of the reason I love London. It was just so accessible with public transportation. I could get anywhere and relatively fast. The tube would get super crowded at like rush hour.
Oh, yeah.
But I didn't mind it too much.
You will try to avoid the tube as much as possible.
Yes.
It was great that I had like a monthly unlimited pass, so I could go anywhere I wanted, which was awesome.
Yeah.
It's crazy that the monthly unlimited pass, I was thinking about this the other day. In Boston, for youth, it's $30. In London, for youth, it's £90, which is like $120.
Yeah.
It's quite expensive, but you do save money. Something really interesting about London Oyster cards, which is the name of the card for the tube, is that there is a cap on how much you can spend per day.
It's like $7.
£7.
Then £7. Once you hit £7, you're not charged anymore for travel, which I think is amazing. That helped so much.
If
when
you
we
have a
were, like,
really busy
running
day,
around.
for sure, yeah. Because £7 is what, about 4 or 5 trips?
Something like
But
that.
if you're going many places in one day and you have a cap, I think that's pretty good because you're saving money.
Exactly. I loved that so much.
And I don't think many cities do that.
Boston definitely doesn't.
I don't think they do, no.
Yeah.
Something else cool I kind of discovered halfway through the semester was that so there's different zones within London of like central London as you get further out, like prices change and all those different things. But if you have like bus transportation, you can go to any zone versus like if you pay for specific tube zones, it's like just zone 1 and 2. So I could go really far just by taking the bus. So often I would
yeah.
take
I
the
didn't
tube
know
to like
that.
the outside of the limits and then take a bus. And it was great.
Oh.
I got to Heathrow for like £3.
Oh, that's good. I don't remember how we got to Heathrow.
Uber. That's how we got
We
to
Ubered to
Heathrow.
Heathrow.
Because
Yep.
we didn't find any other way. To be fair, my bags were super heavy, so going on the bus would have been
And that week
terrible.
was really a lot.
Yeah.
A lot happened on the way back on that specific week.
We'll talk about that at the end. But yeah, so now we're going to move into our top 5 places that we really recommend in London.
What are
Me?
your top 5 places and why?
Okay. I've refined this list in the past day. All right. So my top 5 places to visit in London, in my personal opinion. The first one, like top best choice, is maybe a little bit of a cheating answer, but my answer is the West End and like the off West End theaters. I saw so many musicals in London. It was really bad. I saw like almost one a day.
You kept winning the lottery. What did you expect?
Yeah, it's true. I would enter ticket lotteries and I got to see Hamilton twice. But I also saw some other great shows.
Did you see Cabaret?
I honestly feel like the West End, in my opinion, is better than Broadway in New York. I
do
might
have
get
to
some
agree
for
with that,
that.
I think.
But I loved the variety of shows and I don't know, it just felt different to me. So my top choice is go see some shows like Back to the Future at the Adelphi Theater. Even Heather's, I think, is at the Other Palace right now, or even a classic like Wicked. But definitely see a musical if you're in London.
Definitely.
Or underground plates as well. Plates.
Yeah, there were definitely smaller theaters that I really liked as well. And they also had student discounts, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, so that's my first. My second is the Sky Garden, I think it's called, especially at sunset. So basically, it's a free alternative to the London Eye. I never went on the London Eye because I heard go to the Sky Garden. And I'm really glad I did because you get to take an elevator all the way to the top. It's free. You just have to reserve your slot like ahead of time online. And they have food and drinks, and there's indoor and outside area. And you can spend as long as you want there versus the London Eye, which you're constantly on rotating. And I didn't go to the Sky Garden until like the end of my time in London. I wish I'd gone sooner because it was a great place. So number 3 is actually the area where I lived. So I did housing through API, which is that like third-party program. And I lived in King's Cross, and the area of like Canal Reach is also it's called. So first of all, super excited because as a Harry Potter fan, I was like, King's Cross. You can go take a picture with that, like the platform with like Harry's trolley and stuff. But also I just came to love everything about King's Cross. They have a canal with like boats that you can just walk along for like miles maybe. And it's like there's no cars for a while, so you can just sit there quietly by the water and read. So I would check out library books and go read there. They also have a lot of food. They like a market on the weekends. And they also had little pop-ups for holidays. Like they had curling in the wintertime. And that was super cute. So I loved the King's Cross area. It was so great to live there. All right, moving on to my number 4 is Borough Market. I heard a lot about this one, and it lived up to all the expectations I had. It had really good food. It was really fun to walk around and get some free samples and just explore and see all that like the UK has to offer. And last but not least is just a restaurant that I really came to love while I was in London. It's called Beijing Dumpling. It's in Chinatown. It was kind of near our classes, and it was bad, but I would go there after class a lot. And they have really good pork or chicken soup dumplings. If you're a meat eater, I highly recommend. I got pork dumplings like every time I went there. And London's Chinatown has so many restaurants and bakeries, and there's boba, so you can get a lot of great food, but Beijing Dumpling had the best dumplings, in my opinion.
You never took us there.
Well, great
I'm
things
so
that we have to do now.
jealous. Yeah. We have to go. Yes. I need to see that. Okay.
Let's go tomorrow.
I love it. Okay, do you want to go next or want me to go next?
Sure. So, I mean, some of our choices definitely overlap because they're so great.
Yeah.
My first one, personally, I don't know if you ever went there. I had a lot, but like a lot of fun at Shrek Adventure.
I never went.
It's a little... Yeah, it's a little bit of a tourist trap.
Mainly for kids. To an
Sure.
extent.
I loved it. I had the time of my life.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
You go in a little bus, trying to get to Wonderland, or whatever it is called. Neverland. I don't know.
No, it's
Isn't it like Happily Ever Afters?
Yeah.
you get-
yeah.
Maybe there's something called something like that.
You're trying to get to Happily Ever After, and the witch attacks, and then you have to get help from Donkey, and then you get to meet Poe, and since it was around Christmas time, I got to sit with Santa and talk to him. I don't know. It was great. I got free candy, photos,
It's
everything.
like an interactive exhibit sort of thing where you're actually talking to actors that are playing different characters and you're going through the different
That's pretty cool.
segments, trying to get to the end.
You're actually going like through a story.
But because it was DreamWorks, that's why Poe from Kung Fu Panda was there.
There are some really annoying kids being really mean to
Obviously.
the actors. But it happens. Mind you, I don't have... This is not a specific order of like my favorite to my least favorite. And I just love them all. My second one is Bolly Ballerson. Is this bar slash ball pit that you can go to and dance, and then just be in a ball pit as an adult and just be there for an hour, and then just lay down at the ball pit. Lots of diseases probably, but also a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So that's another one that I really love, and I will go back there. And many people were like, "Hey, it's not that big of a deal." I mean, probably isn't, but I think a ball pit for adults is great.
We took some fun photos.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
Another one that I had that is probably my very first option is, again, theaters in general, the West End. Just go see plays. I'm not a passionate lover of musicals. I tend to start falling asleep.
You have a
during
slight
musicals.
aversion to them. Very slight.
They all sound the same, except for like Hamilton and oh my goodness, the Book of Mormon.
Oh my god. I love the Book of
But
Mormon.
yeah, the other ones, they're okay. They're fun. I mean, I went to see Wicked and stuff like that. But I love seeing plays and underground plays as well, because they're not only cheaper but also really fun as well. So we saw George and I don't know the name.
Brian and Roger.
Brian and Roger. But yeah, just go see theater. I think theater is the thing that you definitely have to do if you're in London. And there is no way you can escape it, because as soon as you get to London, you're going to be bombarded with ads for theater.
It's all
everywhere.
over the place. In all tube stations, on all buses. It's just advertising everywhere.
Yeah.
You will find something that you want to see.
And there's
for
an
sure.
infinity of different theaters that you can go to and just try to see them all.
Yeah.
And then my last two are places that you should definitely visit if you're there. One of them is Covent Garden, and the other one is Piccadilly Circus. I think they're just really fun places to be at, take photos, have some food, street food, go to stores like Lego Store or the M&M store, and I don't know, it's just a lot of fun.
It's Times Square-esque, but just a little less...
Less busy.
Well, no, not less busy, just
think
less... I don't feel as
I feel like there's less
weird.
signs in your face.
And it looks cleaner.
Yeah.
It looks
The
cleaner.
architecture is also gorgeous over there, too.
And I also feel like there's less chances you get robbed.
Maybe it's equal chance, but it's just less obvious
It
in
looks
London.
like there's less chances.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are my top 5 picks that I will definitely try to go again, even if I go back.
Nice.
Awesome. So, mine are also not in a particular order, but here are my 5. So the first one on my list is Harry Potter World. I've been obsessed with the Harry Potter movie since I was like 7 or 8 years old when I watched the first one. I'm sure a lot of people also feel the same way. So when I saw this trip being advertised, I was like, Harry Potter World is there. Like, whoa. And it's not Harry Potter World in the sense that there's like rides. It's like interactive exhibit on showing how they made the movies. And coming in there as a film student and acknowledging the fact that making films is hard, just seeing how they did it and all the behind the scenes with it as well, all the props that they built, all the sets that they had to do, all the makeup and the special effects, like it was so interesting. And it's one of those film series that I wish I could go back in time and work on as well, because there was so much visual effects and just really amazing work done by so many amazing people. I'd love to meet at least someone that worked on that set, because it was amazing how much detail they went into. I took so many photos as references. They had sort of even like little interactive exhibits where someone that worked on the set will come in and tell you how they went about making this particular set piece. They had a whole huge Hogwarts castle like design set up. It was amazing just seeing all the original sketches and how they just went about wanting to create all of this. So it was absolutely amazing. Even if you don't like Harry Potter, I think it was still awesome to go just to really understand and sort of wrap your head around how they made those movies. because I don't think people realize just how much work and how many people were involved in them. So it was just really amazing just seeing all that come together. I really enjoyed it. My next one's the Globe Theater.
Oh my goodness, yes.
I loved the Globe Theater, and it wasn't just because I also liked the shows. I just loved being there and feeling like I was a part of history. I know it's not in the original place that the building was back in Shakespearean time. No, the original shape. It's probably different. But it was so fun still being like this open air theater, especially since we went at the time of year where it was still a little bit warm, but there was some cooler air coming in. The actors were incredible, and majority of the time we were standing in the pit. So the actors would actually come through the audience that was standing in the pit and sort of interact with them in one way or another. And that was such a cool experience to have this like collective understanding of what's going on. One of my favorites was when I went to go see Romeo and Juliet, and the guy that played Dean Thomas in Harry Potter was there.
If you don't know who that is, don't worry.
He was there, and part of his role in Romeo and Juliet was to run into the audience around us and like perch himself up on like a ladder prop. I was like, I am so close to this man right now. I'm so excited.
If you don't know who Dean Thomas is, do not worry. He literally just sits on the back of the movies in Harry Potter and says nothing.
He's a meme now, okay? I was just so excited to be in the same room, and he was really running through the audience. It
was really cool even for me, and I got into the Harry Potter movies like a year or two ago, and just the fact that guy worked in that is just amazing.
I know, but it was cool too because also in that show it was like sort of like confetti coming down and like the marriage sequence, Romeo and Juliet, if you know what part that is. But I still have the confetti in my planner on the exact day that we went to go see it. I'm just gonna keep it in there. But it was so awesome just being there. Had so much fun. They sold a lot of really cute things at the gift shop for Shakespeare lovers. So we got like a whole globe puzzle thing that we still have yet to build.
The miniature.
It was just great. Please go see a show there. It's worth it, even if you don't know what they're saying half the time.
So the tickets are really cheap for the Globe, right?
They are.
Yeah, especially if you're doing the pit. Like, it's so cheap just
the
to
most
stand
expensive
there.
tickets are the ones that you actually get to sit on. I was able to experience a sitting ticket, and I hated it because I wasn't having the full experience of actually having the actors interact with you.
Yeah.
And apparently in the past, in Shakespeare's time, the rich people will be the ones sitting, and the poor people will be the ones on the pit standing. But I think the poor people had it better.
The pit has such a good view. You can actually see everything. I feel like if you're sitting down, like, because there's these two huge marble pillars that can block your view half the time. So I was really happy that we had such a good view. But anyways, that's beside the point. Please go to the Globe. I loved it. You have to go. You have to go. Like, what's the point? My third on the list is also the Sky Garden. I absolutely loved it. I think we went in about midday was when we went. It was still so gorgeous. And even inside the Sky Garden, there's like so much greenery. And there's a nice little restaurant. We didn't really eat there, but it was just so aesthetically pleasing. Don't take Polaroid pictures up there. We failed on that. It did not work. Taking other photos is pretty. Worked-ish. Other photos are so gorgeous, and then as you like walked around even on like the inside of the building, there was views all around, and you could see pretty much the entire skyline.
And you can see little vinyls on the windows that tell you which buildings you're looking at.
And which was so helpful, so you knew exactly what you were looking at. It's like a landmark to look at. Ugh, gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. The next one, if you're coming to London, I really, really, really recommend coming around bonfire night. That was such an amazing experience, just being involved in something that does not happen literally anywhere else.
It's like a Thanksgiving for Americans, and it happens, I think, in October, maybe? November?
At the very beginning of November, yeah. I'm not going to go into history about it, but really awesome event.
Also good history.
What?
Also good history.
Also good history, yes. We went to the Alexandra Park and Palace, which had its own like fireworks display. There was food vendors, and then obviously the main event was setting this entire wooden structure on fire.
Huge.
You could feel the
Ginormous.
heat coming off of it. It was amazing to be there. It was so cool. There's fireworks going off all over the place, and apparently they burn different people, if that makes any sense. Like they make like a fake person
for a little bit
it.
of a like guide on what we're talking about, if
Yeah.
you've ever seen the show Shakespeare, what Shakespeare? What am I saying?
Sherlock.
If you've ever seen the show Sherlock, when
There's an
Shakespeare on the mind.
episode in Bonfire Night where John is put into the bonfire, like stuck inside the bonfire,
and Sherlock has to
as it's
come
about
and
to
save
set on
him,
fire, and Sherlock has to come save him.
that's Bonfire Night.
That's Bonfire Night, if you want reference. But what they do at Bonfire Night is they burn this effigy of a person. If you look into the history of it, you'll understand why. But sometimes they'll put like a celebrity's face on there just for kicks. I heard that once point they've burned Kim K or Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Just as like references
That's
to
fine.
how they feel about certain people. And I didn't see who they burned where we were at. I think
I
they
don't
just
think
burned
necessarily. I don't think
the
they
wooden
burn
pile.
anybody necessarily.
But it was so much fun. Please go at that time of year because it was gorgeous. Anyways, my very last one was the Kew Gardens. We went there as like one of the last things that
Oh
we
my
did.
gosh.
We went there in
about that.
Christmas time. So beautiful, the lights display, but even just being there in general, I think even without Christmas time, it is so
Yeah.
gorgeous. There's so many
There's
beautiful
a little
plants.
river.
There's rivers. There's like a whole light display on the water that was
Yeah.
shooting up. Gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. And the Christmas time and the music playing all around just sort of made it all the more entertaining. It's just so aesthetic in like late fall, early winter. So please just go at that time of year.
Yeah, I think
loved
London
it.
has gorgeous parks to go see.
Mhm.
Just overall, you have little picnics and stuff.
But yeah. So now that we told you
What
you
you should
should do, here's what we think you shouldn't do. So Julia, take it away. What should people not do?
You know, I had a hard time coming up with things for this because I loved
Same.
a lot of London. The one thing that I can think about is kind of like it was funny, but also it was weird. All those American candy stores. There's
Yeah.
like one on every block. I get the appeal. Like if you haven't been to America before, you're like, ooh, wonder what kind of foods they have. But I feel like it's very inaccurate. They have really sugary cereals that like I definitely have never tried in my life.
And
And
this whole
so-
tack is for like £7 for a small bag.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like one of the things I learned living in London is they don't have boxed mac and cheese, which is a tragedy for me personally since I love mac and cheese. And so they'll sell it at the candy stores as like an American product, but it's really expensive.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I never bought anything from there. I think I went in there like once, but I just laughed every time I saw them because
There's
I was
way
like,
too
this
many.
is not accurate.
Mhm. Do you want to go next? Anything else comes to mind?
Okay, so the school that we were going to, FSU in London, it happened to be in Tottenham Court Road. It's an alright place if you're going shopping and it's downtown-esque.
Mhm.
But I feel like there is no need to go there. I feel like it's too busy, too crowded, and the shops are alright. There's better places to go to shop.
Yeah.
But I think Tottenham Court Road is just too crowded.
Yeah, I don't think it really helped that we were there for Christmas time because I remember trying to get through and it was just like floods of people there and I was just like I don't want to be here. Like there's too many people. Everyone's like pushing each other to sort of get by 'cause
Yeah.
if you're a slow walker.
There's better
Sorry.
places like Covent Garden, Soho. There's other places you can go shop. And
Yeah.
it's nicer.
I mean, I get it because all of London is very like there's so many people in
Yeah.
London. It can be overcrowded, but this one place in particular, I feel like I just saw so many people. Like I just could not wrap my head around that many people.
I'm pretty sure I was taking the bus one time to see a show, and I was around the Tottenham Court area, and I saw like 100 Santas gathered together. Like a bunch of people just coordinated it, and I was dying. But yeah, definitely like it could make things inconvenient if you were stopped by 100 Santas.
Mhm. And do you want to talk about the incident, or do you want me to talk about the incident?
Which incident?
The one
The
that was
incident?
Oh,
incident.
that incident. So, okay. I don't know if you remember. One of the excursions that we did with API was to this really nice Indian restaurant, and we had amazing food.
It was like our curry night event.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
It was like the last... No, it wasn't the last event, but it was one of the last events that we were doing. Really nice restaurant. A lot of good food. Great curry. But the area... Oh my goodness.
I've never seen you that freaked out before.
It felt like I was gonna get stabbed all of a sudden. Because it was really late at night, and also because it was really dark, and it was like a bunch of alleyways and stuff like that. But mainly because people will come up to your face and you speak really fast to you, asking you to come into their restaurants, which should be fine for me because I come from Colombia, and that's what we do in downtown, is like they're trying to offer you a pair of jeans and to try to get you into their store to sell you jeans. But this one guy got right into my face offering me alcohol for free if I decided to eat in their restaurant, but I had no idea what he was telling me. And he was just like, and we were walking, and this was like the very first block to walk to the restaurant, and he got right in my face.
He would not let you pass. Like, I'm pretty sure he even like put his hand on your chest to like stop you.
Yeah,
yeah.
And gave me his business card, and I realized what he was saying after the math, but it was just a lot.
So uncomfortable. Like, I get wanting people to come into your business, but just like being up close in their face, especially when we are in a pandemic, and just like waving your business card, being like, I will give you whatever you want so you can come into my restaurant and eat. It just, that also doesn't make me feel good. It makes me feel like, are you even a good business if you have to force your customers to come into the restaurant? I can't tell you where this is. I completely forgot like where we went on this particular occasion, but I just know that this might happen to you. It seems like it was common enough on this street that it could happen again.
That one street.
So just be aware that owners,
because it wasn't only him, it was like all of the restaurant owners or people
were like with their business cards outside their restaurant trying to get people to come in. You were even like yelling at you from across the street, being like, come on inside.
Even after we already ate.
Yeah, even after you already left another restaurant.
Yeah, I think it was called Brick Lane. Like, it's like the Curry Mile.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the area, I believe.
Do you
but
have
I also
any
felt that
other?
way and didn't want to go back.
Oh wait, you actually did a Jack the Ripper tour around there.
As you were talking about like the moment where you thought you were gonna get stabbed, I was like, oh, I thought I was gonna get stabbed after I went on a Jack the Ripper walking tour, which was cool. I decided to go on Halloween. I was like, oh, this will be fun. I got actually freaked out. It took us to like the sites of all his stabbings and told us the stories about how like he was like maybe an attractive guy and you would never know it. And I had to like walk back home to the tube after that, and I was really scared. And it was in that same area. So that was also not my favorite area.
I do wish I did that though.
Yeah,
that sounds
so
pretty
fun. Great. We should have done it together.
I'm just a scared person in general though. So people would probably enjoy it if you like horror movies. I don't like horror movies.
I enjoy horror movies.
All true crime fans, go do it.
Another thing that we did, that I mean, we personally didn't enjoy it because we were like museumed out. Mind you, there is like amazing museums all throughout London, England, and just the UK in general. But we went to Glasgow for a day, and it felt like the only thing to do there was either go into a pub, which we did. We had an amazing burger. Oh my goodness, that burger.
Oh yeah.
So good. But the only other thing to do was go into a museum. So I feel like I didn't enjoy Glasgow all that much.
It didn't help that we started off our Scotland excursion in Edinburgh, where we went to museums constantly.
We saw an entire museum within a day.
Yeah, that didn't help. I mean, if you love museums, it's great. You're going to learn a lot.
I get tired.
I was not about it. I'm sure if we went with more people, we would have found maybe more things to do as a group. Yeah. But because it was just the two of us, I was fine skipping Glasgow at the end of the day. I had more fun in other cities. Yeah. No offense to anybody who lives in Glasgow. Personally, I was just a little tired.
They did have a really nice university in Glasgow I went to. It looked like Harry Potter.
That could have been where they filmed something. I wouldn't be surprised.
I know we took really nice photos
so maybe
there.
I did the right thing.
Yeah.
Do you have any other place that you will avoid?
I have one more that I actually wrote down and forgot to see. This is a hot take, probably. Buckingham Palace.
Oh my goodness.
I don't know. I went there a couple times, and the first time I was like, oh, this is it? Like, okay, I'll take a picture. But, I mean, I can't really see anything. I did love, like, the garden walk around it. But, like, the palace itself, meh.
I feel like it's a must-do, because why not? It's just going there. so you might as well. But it's not the greatest thing.
Only
I do
go
have
there
to
one
agree.
time. I don't see the
Yeah.
point of going back
Yeah.
multiple times because it's not like you can enter into the palace at all. You're just taking pictures outside of a gate.
I was able
So.
to see the guards actually like doing their shift changes, which is really interesting, and I saw it with horses.
Yeah,
And
that was
That's
cool.
cool.
so it was pretty cool. Like they're actually moving. But when they're just still, yeah, it's not a lot of fun.
Yeah. Thankfully, no one was antagonizing the people that day because that might have been really
Yeah.
awkward. But yeah.
I think that's a great segue into our next and last part of the interview. Tourist traps, yay or nay?
So you just said Buckingham Palace. I think we sort of agree. One
Just do
time
it
visit,
once. Might as well. It's free.
but
It's free
don't.
because
Maybe
it's just
not go
seeing
again.
it.
Yeah, you're just seeing it. You see where the Queen lived, and so it's like it's fine.
And she wasn't living there at the moment. She's still not living there.
I think she actually moved to a different castle.
So she wasn't there at the moment we saw it.
Yeah. Oh well.
Why do you think? Well, you already said that you didn't go to the London Eye. Was it
Yeah.
because you weren't too attracted to it?
I think, oh my gosh, I definitely did want to go. When I would get close to it or see it from far away, I was like, oh, that's so beautiful. But I think the high price deterred me, knowing that there was a free option
Better
where I
view,
could stay as long as
honestly.
I wanted to.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know if I would go on it. Of course, I didn't actually go on it, but I was just as happy with the Sky Garden, I think.
Yeah. We did go to the London Eye. I think we had a pretty good experience. For the money,
Yeah.
I feel like the London Eye, you gotta do it once. I think. But if I go back to London, I don't think I will do it again.
Yeah, we went at nighttime specifically, but it just happened that the day that we picked was also rainy.
Raining.
So the capsules can get a little bit sort of like foggy or like covered in
Yeah.
that rain. So it made it a little bit harder to get nicer photos. We went at night just because we wanted to see all the Christmas lights around the
Which
city.
we did.
Which we did, but it wasn't what I expected.
Yeah.
It was a pretty long line. There's a bunch of people there. So
The
that's,
line
like,
was
something to take
longer
into
than what it
account.
actually was, the experience.
And the ride got stuck at one point when we were on it. We were like
Yeah.
descending, and they were like, just some technical difficulties, and I had a mini heart attack. But I can't say that I was mad that I went. I don't feel like I was robbed of my money.
No.
If you need to go to the bathroom, go beforehand somewhere else.
That's what I was
'cause
gonna
there's no
say.
bathroom
Just for
around.
reference, on the line of the London Eye, I already had to pee. The London Eye experience itself is like 30 minutes. If we were stuck for like 15 more minutes, imagine having to pee for a whole hour, not being able to pee.
Yeah. And then the bathroom that was like sort of near it was closed by the time we went there because we went at nighttime. So just take that into account. But I can't say that I regret it. I think it's really nice. I can understand why people don't want to do it at all. But
It's a do if you can. If you don't do it, it's not a problem.
you're not going to miss out.
Yeah,
Really.
you just go to Sky Garden.
Next up, we have the Big Ben. This is one of the most iconic photo places ever. And I got so disappointed the moment I saw it because it is covered in scaffolding. And it's apparently been that way for years. Ugh.
It's been covered in scaffolding for about 5 years. I
think
think
that's
they're
what they
taking
said.
it down now.
That's what they said, but I don't know.
What do you think of the
Yeah.
London Eye?
Big Ben.
Oh, the Big Ben.
Right, the first time I saw it, I was like, oh, that's disappointing. I feel like one time I saw it at night, and with the lights, it was pretty. But yeah, it definitely sucked that it was like the scaffolding was up.
It was a pretty big letdown. The
And
only
it wasn't
part without
ringing
scaffolding.
either. Like, I think there's a bell, right?
I think so, yeah. I don't know what they were doing
Yeah.
to it. If you get a chance to see it without the scaffolding, take a picture.
Yeah.
Super iconic.
Right
if it
next
has
to the London Eye.
scaffolding, though, maybe not as great of a picture.
Yeah.
So just look up. If you really want to see Big Ben and take a picture, maybe look up to see when they're going to take the scaffolding off and plan your trip
Yeah.
accordingly.
It's also free. So all of these different things that are free, you might as well do them. It's just go and see them.
Yeah.
And you don't have to pay anything. So it's not like a big brainer.
All you're doing is just taking a picture in front of the Big
And
Ben.
there's like other
so.
cool stuff around the Big Ben too. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I
Yeah.
feel like there's lots of things nearby, so it's not like a huge.
There's the
trip.
aquarium. There's the Shrek Adventure.
Isn't the
Strike
Palace of
Adventure.
Westminster like right next to Big
Yeah.
Ben anyways? That's where they have their
Oh yeah,
first
Westminster
Congress. Uh-huh.
Yeah, I wanted to go in because, well, every Sunday they have like a 45-minute thing called like Evensong, And so usually you have to pay to like get in and get a tour. But if you go in, like you can listen to like a choir sing for like 45 minutes. You get to go in
Oh, that's nice.
Westminster Abbey.
Nice.
So that's something fun I discovered.
So we already talked about the Buckingham Palace. What do you think of the Tower of London?
What did you think
Remember?
of the Tower of London?
I really liked it.
We went to like every single little museum-esque thing that they had. We were super excited about it.
we went for free-ish because we had to pay the program beforehand. But I feel like the Tower of London is really nice and a lot of history. If you enjoy history, you're going to enjoy being there a lot.
Oh, yeah.
And if you enjoy seeing swords and weapons and...
The crown jewels.
The crown jewels, that was good.
That was so cool.
Yeah.
A little like escalator that slides you along. You get to view everything. It was really cool.
Yeah.
And that way it doesn't get too crowded and you cannot actually see it. But it was great. I think it was really nice.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun there. It was fun, like, exploring the different places. And then, like, if you see one exhibit talking about a person, they might appear up in another exhibit because either, like, they lived there or whatnot. I remember the twin princes story really stuck out to me because it was like, this is where their bodies were found. And I was like, what? Like,
crazy.
they were in the exact place where, like, that was found and where people lived and killed other people. So it's just like mind blown about all this history because I took AP European history in high school, and so I remembered a little bit of it. So I was like, whoa, I remember that one random name. It was just so cool. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was worth the money.
Overall. I don't know how much I paid for it.
I don't know how much I paid for it either, but I enjoyed it.
Also, the Tower of London is not just a tower, which I think I thought going
it's a
into
whole castle.
It's like pretty huge, which is awesome.
It's a fortress.
Yeah, and
full of
getting
ravens.
to see like those fortress elements and like the dungeons and stuff was cool.
Yeah.
Plus, I think it's where Anne Boleyn is buried or was beheaded.
Something like
I
that,
got like a tour from a beefeater, which are those like guards of the place.
Yeah.
We got like a short tour, and he was talking about Anne Boleyn. So that was pretty cool too, to hear from someone who is like served in the military and now works there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I feel like I think the people that work there as guards, they have to have a really extensive background.
Yeah, I was impressed.
I asked one of them. I mean, they lived there actually. I don't know if you got to see the little houses. They actually lived in the Tower of London, which is insane.
Gosh.
I would recommend. Another big one is Stonehenge.
The rocks.
The rocks.
How far away from London is that?
A while. That was.
It's like
it
was like 2 hours.
Yeah,
2 hours
by bus.
Yeah.
And that was like a Peter Pan Greyhound-esque bus. So I don't know if for like the average tourist how exactly you would get there.
So on that note of how long it takes to get there, would you go? I think I will go once again because it's a historic thing that I think is worth seeing. But to be honest, once you're there, it takes 10 minutes. And then there's nothing to do.
The amount of time that you put in to drive there versus the amount of things to do there is not the same. Like, I just like looked at the rocks. I was like, wow.
If you're around the area, definitely, like if you're in Bath, because Bath is pretty close, like an hour away, it's really nice, but you can see all the Roman baths and stuff. That one was really nice.
I liked the baths a lot.
Yeah.
Maybe more than Stonehenge.
Yeah, probably. So if you're around the area, go see Stonehenge. You can either pay for it so you can get in closer, or you can not pay for it and see it from a little farther out.
That was something very peculiar. Yeah. I had to pay extra to stand a touch bit closer to the rocks.
Because it's not that you can actually go through them. In the past, you could.
No, you can't touch them at all anymore. They
like walk through them.
Yeah.
In the past, you could, but right now you can't. But I mean, if you're around the area, yes. But if you're not, if you're only in London for a week, don't really spend your time doing it.
If I feel like if you're only going for London, it's not really worth it. If you're going for the entirety of UK, then okay, go.
Yeah.
Because then you'll already be traveling around. Stuff. Yeah.
And if you're in Bath and Stonehenge, you might as well go to like Wales. Now that you're already there in the
because Bath is like so close. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say for Stonehenge, like I can say I've gone to it, but it wasn't like a life-changing experience or
Yeah.
anything. I read plaques about people who felt like spiritual connections to it. I mean, I was like, this is cool,
Great.
but it wasn't as awesome as some of the shows I saw in London.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Another one that you didn't get to experience, but I feel like I will go there a million times. Is
Lake Loch Ness.
Oh my
Oh
goodness!
my gosh.
Dude, you have to do that the next time you
It's
go.
so far, so
So
far
far.
from London.
But it is gorgeous. It is breathtakingly gorgeous. We went on this cute little boat ride, like Deep Scan, something
Yeah.
like that is the company that I went with. So cute.
The town itself is so tiny. There is nothing to do. So
Absolutely
we stayed
nothing
on
to
a hostel right next to the Loch Ness that you could literally walk to Loch Ness. There is also nothing to do around there. But we went there just because I wanted to see Loch Ness.
And say that you were on Lake Loch Ness. Oh, it was so awesome, but also kind of a little bit eerie at times. When we got to like the very
Yeah.
center of the lake, I was like, is Nessie down there? Like, what's happening? Oh, man. Like the whole entire area is covered in forest.
And it's beautiful.
cows!
There's a castle as well.
Yeah, there's a really gorgeous castle. I wouldn't be surprised if that was used as like inspiration in Merida and Brave with Merida, because that castle is very decrepit.
This is in
and you can
Scotland, by
probably,
the way.
yeah, you can probably pay to. I think you do pay to get like a tour of that. We didn't end up doing
I
that
think
there.
you can go in for free.
It's just farther away from
Yeah.
the town center. That's all I know. But it's still gorgeous. We have so many photos of that castle as well. There is Nessie Land,
We
which
didn't
is
do
like
that.
for kids. It
It's like
looked a little
$12,
bit
12
run
pounds.
down when we went there. It could have had more life previously.
We saw a lot of Nessie shops.
Yeah,
Which
we
was
did get a
good.
Nessie stuffed animal because you have to. You got to get the souvenirs. Highly recommend that. I know there's not much to do
I will go a
in
million
the
times
immediate
nonetheless.
town, but it was still amazing.
The tour was just so calming because you're not only on a
Yeah.
lake, you're also in Loch Ness.
And it's not like that lake really gets a lot of people boating on it that much. I mean, I know we probably went in like an off season, but still, like it was very calm. Like I really enjoyed my time there. You should definitely do it the next time
Yeah.
if you go to the UK again. Seriously.
And the very last thing that we want to talk about is Chatsworth House and Hampton Court Palace. I think they're both pretty similar palaces in which kings lived at one point.
Kings or duchesses
Important
and whatnot.
people lived at one point. What do you think of those?
It was cool. I remember really liking it while I was there. Partially because of the musical Six. So I already had
Yeah.
some context about who the wives of King Henry were. And the day we went was also, I think, just really nice weather, and the grounds were
Yeah.
really cool to explore. So beyond the actual museum part, it was a really cool place to visit, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think seeing palaces is one of the biggest things if you're like a history nerd. I love learning about history and just being there. You're a part of what history is for London.
Yeah,
and
you
for
really
England.
feel like, oh, I was right in the exact room where this is happening. Because they like, the way that the museum part goes is they show you, like, this was what this room was used for. And these were the people that were living here. Like, this is who actually was here. I especially loved the Hampton Court one because of all, like, the lush gardens. I think we took a couple pictures out where it has, like, the fountain in the center.
Yeah.
Oh, gorgeous. So gorgeous.
Amazing
I
statues.
wish I could go back in time and live there myself because it must have also been beautiful. I know there's also like some horse-drawn carriages as well.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I regret not doing that, but yeah, it was really pretty. And there's also like food vendors at both places as well. There was like a whole bigger food thing happening at Hampton Court. So there
We
was
were eating some
options
really
of
good cheese.
really good cheese, really good sausage,
Oh my goodness, the
mediocre churros. Overall, it was really great. And you could spend like a whole day there, honestly. I know there's some ice skating too outside of Hampton Court as well. So
Now,
Gorgeous.
before we let Julia go, I want to know. So we were there for 4 months, and many people will think about going there either visiting or living there. Would you go back and live there longer?
My answer, without a doubt, yes.
You
I have
would.
been looking into how I can become like a citizen, like how I can get a job there.
Aw.
Since coming back, I loved it so much. I would live there in a heartbeat. I don't know. I just really connected with it as soon as I got there. And
Mm-hmm.
maybe I was living independently, but it really kind of felt like home by the end of it. And I need to go back, and I can't
sure.
wait to go again.
Aw.
I feel like one of my
I
biggest
felt
things.
like really safe there, and I don't
Uh-huh.
usually feel safe in cities. There were so many just like awesome free things to do.
Mhm.
They
Yeah.
had Fret's coffee subscription where
Oh,
I
you
had
gotta love
free hot
that.
chocolate every day. It was amazing.
Aw.
I feel like one of my biggest things was not feeling stable enough. Like I couldn't decorate my house or work and make money. It was just like spending money without making anything.
Yeah, that really
that's,
bothered you.
That's the thing that made me want to be back here in the US. But other than that, I feel like not only because I want to, and I would love to, I think, at one point, but I think my career as a filmmaker is going to drive me back to London at one point, eventually.
Yeah, I really felt comfortable where we were living. I think we got very lucky. Because we didn't live with API, I know at the start I was very nervous that like the housing that we had chosen was not going to be in a good
Yeah.
area because I had no idea really of where it was. But just we got very lucky. Like we were in a
So
very
nice.
beautiful neighborhood. I know, Julia, you saw our neighborhood. It was actually really nice. It was like
Yeah.
suburban-esque with a bunch of grocery stores around as well. So I really felt like at home. And I do agree that like not being able to really feel grounded there, not being able to make money, is obviously something to consider if you're going to visit for that long of amount of time. It took months of preparation and a lot of saving up to be able to afford everything that we were able to do there. But I would really love to go back. I don't imagine myself living there full time. I don't necessarily see it as a place where I want to have a forever home. But with the amount of people that we met both in theater and in film, I don't see why I wouldn't go back for projects and
Temporarily.
for contact work. I absolutely felt comfortable there. I felt like I totally understood what was going on. I think coming from Boston really helped because we already have like a solid MBTA transportation system.
Yeah.
So understanding the tube and the bus system
Tube
was
is
not
hard
hard.
at all.
So yeah, I could totally see myself going back, but maybe not living there permanently. Maybe
Yeah.
I'm not there yet, but it was so amazing. I totally want to go back at least once.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you so much, Julia, for joining us today.
Thank you.
Oh my
It
gosh,
was
thank
really
you so
nice
much for
having
inviting
you.
me. I love to talk about this again, kind of relive some stuff. And
Yes.
Oh
I
yeah.
had a great time. Thanks
We
for
really
having
hope
me.
to have you in many more episodes to come.
Oh my gosh,
More
yes.
update
And also
episodes.
invite me to act. I want to continue my acting.
For sure.
career.
Okay.
More
Look at
acting
that.
opportunities to
Yes.
come. Okay, Julia, and then before we go, where can people follow you?
Oh my gosh, yes. I am a lot of places. You can find me on Instagram at Julia A. Benton, all one word. So 2 A's in Julia. And I'd love to share more about my journey and stuff through my Instagram. I post some things about London sometimes.
Awesome. And you guys can follow me on Instagram at Sebas ALEP. And that will be Sebas Alep on Instagram.
And you can follow me as well at Kate Johnston 622.
Thank you so much, and I guess we'll see you later.
Yeah, awesome.
Yes.
Thanks.
And thank
See
you
ya.
all for listening. I appreciate all of you.
And this has been it for today's episode.
Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next time.
And
cut.
cut.